classic rock and country music facts and trivia. I've got another outlaw story for you from Mr. Willie Nelson. How Willie Nelson got banned from the Bahamas 2 days before the infamous White House visit with Jimmy Carter in 1977. Once again, I say, only Willie Nelson. The 39th president, Jimmy Carter, the longest living president in U.S. history, passed away at 100 years old. I think many of us have heard the incredible story of Willie smoking weed with his son, Chip, on the roof of the White House. But what happened just 2 days before makes the story that much more fascinating and intriguing. On tour with Hank Cochran in 1977, after 10 straight nights, sometimes playing 2 shows a night, when they finally got a 2-day break, Willie and Hank headed for the Bahamas to do some deep-sea fishing on Cochran's boat. They were so late to the airport that their luggage didn't make it onto their flight, and while preparing to go through customs, Willie realized there actually might be an issue, and he detailed what went down in his 2015 memoir. It's a long story, my life. I'd slipped a small bag of weed in the pocket of my pair of jeans. That got me worrying. But since worrying never solved anything, I let worry go. Next morning, they got a call that their luggage arrived, and they just had to go to the airport and get it. Yeah, you can probably see where this is going. Well, the agent asked Willie if it was his suitcase, and when he opened it, Willie had a pair of jeans on top where the pot was. He was promptly arrested, and Willie said there was no chance to call a lawyer, and he didn't know any in the Bahamas anyway. Hank jokingly assured him that he would come visit him in jail. And even though Willie found himself in a jail cell in a foreign country, he still wasn't panicking. He knew his friend would find a way to get him out. Hank went to see Willie during visiting hours, telling him that they'd set bail at some ridiculous amount, and he would have to go home and get enough cash. He also brought Willie a 6-pack of beer, though. The 70s were clearly a different time. And while Willie had mostly given up drinking by this point, he says in this instance, he was more than willing to make an exception. Fair enough. Not long after that visit, Hank returned to bail Willie out, but Willie was so drunk from drinking all the beer Hank brought earlier that he took a tumble and found himself in the emergency room, if you can believe that. The second we left the jailhouse and the sunlight hit my eyes, I hollered hallelujah and jumped off the porch of the jail. Given my inebriation, I took a nasty tumble and broke my left foot. I spent the next 5 hours in the emergency room. When I left, I was walking on crutches, hungover and hobbling. I appeared before a judge. Hank had found a lawyer who started telling His Honor about all the charitable work I did back in the States. His Honor didn't give a shit. Not exactly what they were hoping for. So the judge did agree to let him go, though, on one very specific and kind of unfortunate condition. We're letting your client go on one condition, said the judge. He's never to return to the Bahamas. Deal, I blurted out before the attorney had the chance to speak, and that was it. I mean, that kind of sucks, but also worth the sacrifice for not having to stay in jail in a foreign country for any second longer. And guess what happened 2 days later? Mr. Nelson went hobbling into the White House as President and Mrs. Carter invited him to perform. They had also invited Willie and his family to spend the night there, and the concert went off without a hitch, Willie said. President Carter hardly mentioned Willie's adventures, slyly say, I'm glad everything turned out well for you in the Bahamas, Willie. Of course, going from Bahama jail to the White House in just a few short days doesn't even sound possible, and Willie recalled just how incredible that moment was. Getting stoned on the roof of the White House, you can't help but turn inward. Certain philosophical questions come to mind, like, how did I get here? There I was, smoking weed and catching the city lights flicker like fireflies, thinking back to where I had started, thinking of the twists and turns of my crazy career, and thinking how I had somehow managed to stay half sane. I had to offer up a prayer that consisted of no more than 2 words. Thank you. I'm not sure if the band ever got dropped. I'd kind of like to know, but what an incredible backstory to an iconic tale of Willie smoking weed on the roof of the White House. It had been a fan favorite, and for a good reason. Long live the red-headed stranger. What a crazy life. I'll say it again. I've got a friend who constantly telling me, they don't party like the rock and roll stars. They're rock and roll stars. They party. Go back and look at some of the Waylon and Willie and Johnny Cash stuff. George Jones, and trust me when I say, child's play. All I got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed us. Please don't forget to subscribe. If you like this video, I'd appreciate it. You guys have a great day. God bless you, and I'm praying for you.